Hi, welcome to the Recovery Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abbasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. And I had got some fancy new glasses. So these are called Specs. And I wanted to show them to you because it's something pretty adorable. So I learned about these glasses when I went to the Vestibular Disorder Association conference a couple weeks ago. And they are for people who experience migraines and have like headache disorders and stuff like that. So these are my indoor glasses, and then I'll show you I have a set of outdoor glasses, but this is what's cute. So I ordered the two glasses. Here, I'll show you the outdoor ones. They're the same. They just have like a darker lens. And I'm telling you, as soon as I put them on, my head felt better. Like I felt like a strain kind of turn off. Anyway, let me show you what's adorable. So I'm going to wear these and see if it helps a little bit take some of the strain off of my head and my eyes. But I don't know if this is going to be backwards on the video or not. I'm not sure. But yeah. See this writing down here at the bottom? Well, this card says that they put a wish in every box. Really? When our first employee, Carrie, packed every order, she made a silent wish for the customer's health and well-being when she sealed the box. She told us about these secret wishes years later, and the rest of the company was so touched that we all adopted the tradition. So, I have on my card, it's a personal signature from somebody named Zane, sending best wishes. So I thought that was super adorable. I was like, okay, you won me over. But, so it says to give it some time. Amazon has an exchange, return and exchange policy of 30 days. And they recommend wearing them as much as you're comfortable, but trying to get up to wearing them each day over 2 to 3 weeks to really feel the benefits of them. So I will keep you updated on my Specs, but I'm pretty excited that I have them, and we'll see if they help during my podcast. So here we are. Okay, so the listener challenge for this month, the writing prompt today is, how does the Serenity Prayer influence your approach to personal growth and recovery? So today I want to talk about rest, and I have been doing a lot of that lately, and it's something that I know I need a lot of, but I was challenged in the beginning of this 9-month period that I've been in recovery so far, away from work and such. Feeling like when I was resting, when I was doing nothing, that I was not productive. I wasn't. Like, how boring is that? I'm just sitting around doing nothing. How is that finding purpose in my life? So I was going from working full-time, probably more than full-time, to doing nothing. So that was really challenging for me. And now I find it, especially since I've started vestibular therapy, even more critical that I take these moments to rest. So I went to the vestibular therapist on Monday, and she said that I really want you to focus on, doing my exercises, of course, but also, now I need to make sure when I brush my teeth that I keep my eyes open, kind of thing. So we're starting to bring back in some of the things in my life that I stopped doing because my head hurt. And so what we're doing is pushing myself up to a 5 symptoms, and then I have to rest. So lots of resting is happening. So I wanted to find out a little bit more about what is happening when we rest, and is there a difference between, is it okay to like just sit back and close my eyes, or do I have to fall asleep in order to get a good, amount of rest in order to restore and rebuild? So I want to talk not only about sleep, that's a big part of it, but also this broad spectrum of rest, because we have physical rest, mental rest, emotional rest, and I want to talk not necessarily about the science of sleep, but like what is happening. How can I really convince myself that sleeping and resting is doing something? I think that's the thing that I needed to beat into my head, that sleeping is not doing nothing. So I'm going to also provide some practical tips for nurturing sleep and rest in our lives. So, the science of rest. That's probably not the right word to use, the science of rest. I'm not going to tell you too much about the science, because if I was a scientist, I wouldn't be sitting here doing this podcast. Rest goes beyond mere inactivity. It is way more complex, I think, than we give it credit for. And it is essential to support our body's repair. And for me, I'm really focused on my brain. I need just as much as we would go to the gym and then rest in order for the muscles to rebuild themselves. The same thing is what I need to do with my brain. I'm pushing it to a certain point, and then I need to rest in order to have that. It's almost like clicking the save button on your computer. I'm teaching my brain how to do things again that it has forgotten how to do. And so I'm practicing them. I'm retraining my brain. I'm building new pathways. And then I have to rest in order to click the save button and have it, save, have it be instilled, and start having that muscle memory. So while we're resting, our bodies are not, it appears as though we're idle, but our cells are regenerating. Our energy is being replenished, and damage is being repaired, and this downtime is so critical for both that cell regeneration and strengthening, but also for our emotional processing and memory consolidation. It makes me think about my laptop. I bought, I kind of have buyer's regret on my Mac. I got a MacBook Air, which I love, but it really is not powerful enough. It doesn't have enough memory for the stuff that I like to do, because I am, creative. So I like to get my Adobe products out and work on them whenever, my head allows me to do that. But it just doesn't have enough memory for me to have too many apps open, for me to save too many of these videos. And so our laptops try to do memory consolidation and stuff, and that's what I think of as what's happening in my brain as well. So sleep is just one form of resting. But resting, as I mentioned, can include mental rest, emotional rest, and physical stillness outside of sleep. So, rest can occur when I am just taking one of those minutes that I talked about yesterday when I was talking about meditation, one of those minutes on my watch where I just shut down, get quiet, and breathe. That is essential rest, and it's something that when I do it, when I was working and I did it throughout the day a few times a day, I really could feel the difference over time when I was consistent with it. I could feel the difference. It was almost like I had a home base, if I got too stressed out, or it was my home away from home, if that makes any sense. I was able to go to this place mentally within me and just feel comfortable and feel at peace for just even the shortest amount of time. And that is rest, to be able to do that. So, physical rest, of course, outside of sleep, just doing that, taking some time to sit on the couch and watch TV or read a book or something like that, that physical relaxation reduces inflammation in our bodies, aids in muscle repair, and helps to lower our blood pressure, which I think is important especially when the chaos of the world is going on around us. Mental rest is important for cognitive function, creativity, and emotional balance. And I remember so often, I was in marketing, so I was required to kind of be on top of my creativity level at all times. And there's just certain points of the day where I was just unable to get creative. So guess what time of day that was? It was in the late afternoon. I was not able to do creative things in the late afternoon. So I would typically reserve, that's the word, reserve like editing documents or getting kind of more of the paper pushing and stuff like that in the late afternoon, because my body was tired, my mind was tired from interacting with people and working all day. So in order to be the best at being creative, I would do the creative stuff in the morning. And that's really I think an example of why rest is so important and obvious that it impacts creativity. So meditation and mindfulness can help during the day. I didn't typically take a lunch break. So had I taken a lunch break and maybe did a little meditation, mindfulness, or, you know, when maybe turned off the lights in my office and shut the door and just kind of just sat in silence, I probably would have been able to like reboost a little bit of that creativity. And then there's emotional rest. And I find that this psychiatrist is providing me with that emotional rest. It's really a release. It's allowing me to similar to what I'm doing here in the podcast, where I'm releasing some of this energy. talkative and, all of this build up stuff that I have throughout the day. I get to release that during the podcast. Well, I also have my psychiatrist time where after I have that psychiatrist time, I feel like I'm super organized. Like I feel like I just have my shit together right after I get off our call. I feel like, yeah, okay, I'm good. But then the next day, what I was talking to her about today is I feel like the next day I need to do some sort of mimic the behavior that I do when I'm with her in our call, and do it every day for maybe a half an hour. Like get my little helping sheets out, my behavioral monitoring and this stuff that she's helping me document about what am I doing, what kind of pain does it cause in my head, how much am I enjoying different hobbies and activities throughout the day. Like take time and sit down for a half an hour every day and just, it's almost like emotional and mental self-care, and just do that. It seems like it would be, I'm going to try it tomorrow, but it seems like I would look at it like, all right, well, I'm just going to sit down and think for a half an hour. Like it's doing nothing. But I think it's probably going to make a significant impact, I would think. So I'm going to try it tomorrow and see if it might help with feeling a little more emotionally rested. I'm going to take a half an hour and just focus on, you know, putting things, almost like putting things in their place in my mind, putting my files away, in my filing cabinet in my brain. So we'll see how that goes. But so the stages of sleep, we at home, I've been talking to my husband about the stages of sleep because he is doing his own little sleep study to see how much of the different types of sleep is he getting. So you need your REM sleep, your rapid eye movement sleep, your deep sleep, light sleep, and awake time. So you need these different stages of your sleep for different reasons. And I won't talk about how he's doing with his sleep, but we've been talking a lot about that and how each part of that sleep plays a role in your health and recovery. And what I learned just from a quick Google search really is that non-REM sleep focuses on your physical restoration, while the REM sleep focuses on your cognitive functions and emotional health. So I thought that was really interesting. And so I wanted to share with you what I do to nurture my rest and sleep. I have a pretty consistent sleep schedule. I go to bed at about the same time every night, and I did spend a lot of time over the past 9 months where I was staying up too late, which, not having a job, it's really a battle to make sure that I go to sleep. I still get up at the same time every morning, no matter whether I go to sleep late or I go to sleep at a good time. So I've been getting back to going to sleep at a good time, and it feels a whole lot better. I think that one of the reasons I've been able to get to sleep a little earlier is because I'm doing all this work with my vestibular therapy. So I think I'm a bit more ready to sleep by the time bedtime comes. So it's 9 o'clock right now, which is about when I've been recording the podcast. and I'll upload it and probably get to bed by 10, which is a good time for me. That gives me 8 hours of sleep, since I wake up around 6:30. So going to sleep at a regular bedtime, I have to take my nap also during the day. So I try to take my nap at the same time every day. It's usually somewhere between like 1 and 4 is a good time for me. With the vestibular therapy picking up, I have been taking another nap in the morning again as well. So I've been taking 2 naps. I've been just really fatigued, but I feel better still than I did last week. Last week was a little rough. So ensuring that the sleeping environment is conducive to rest. There's lots of people that use these white noise machines, and I had been using a white noise machine, but I was afraid just recently. I was afraid that the noise was maybe causing some of my headache a little bit. I wasn't sure, so I stopped using it, and I haven't noticed an impact by not using it, but I kind of like it just being silent now. I was using it for a long time because my Weimaraner is crazy, and every time she would hear noise, she would start barking. But she seems to be a whole lot better now. So I haven't been using the white noise thing, but it's an option. If you weren't aware, there's different kinds of noise. There's white noise, there's brown noise, there's all different color noises. Brown noise is my favorite. So if you're interested, you can go online and find different color noises. I don't know. And then I kind of like it to be a little chilly, so I can have lots of blankies and pillows and stuff like that. So also, before bed, I like to do a meditation. I've heard that you're not supposed to do meditation before bed. I don't know why not. It calms me down and makes me just really let go of everything that's been going on during the day. So I like to do it. I also, as you're well aware, I like to do some stretching and a little bit of yoga, gentle yoga before I go to bed. I also like to do my push-ups, and I've been doing a plank, a 1-minute plank. So I probably do a 1-minute plank maybe 2 or 3 times a week, and then I do my push-ups probably 2 times a week at this point. And that's been working for me. That feels like it loosens up my shoulders a little bit. That's why I like to do it before I lay down and go to sleep. And of course, reducing exposure to screens before you go to bed. I don't have that problem because I use my voiceover, so I don't look at my phone before I go to bed. And falling asleep with ease, strategies to fall asleep with ease. Other than possibly using white noise, meditation. I'm trying to think what else. What else helps? Some people like to read before they go to bed. I can't do that, so that's not something that I do. But avoiding caffeine and heavy meals before bed. I like to eat before I go to sleep. I know that's not what you're supposed to do, but lately I've been really enjoying having cantaloupe before I go to bed. It's hydrating and it's a light snack and makes me not feel hungry when I'm going to sleep, and it helps me to not eat candy because it's got a little bit of sugar in it. So I like it. A little bit of fruit is better than a blow pop, I think. Um, so even if you can't sleep, lying peacefully, practicing mindfulness, or listening to some calming music can provide your body and mind with the essential downtime that you need. Um, I like to listen to classical music. I mentioned this before. I started listening to classical music a whole lot more earlier in this podcast when months ago when I did the meditations for a week and I had classical music in the background. I just really enjoyed that. So I listen to classical music sometimes when I'm laying down. If I can't nap, I might just listen to classical music or piano music or something like that. And I really like that a lot. So that form of rest, even if you're not sleeping, can help bring your stress level down, lower your heart rate and eventually, just by practicing that, you might end up falling asleep. So I think the most important part is just acknowledging that that we need rest, whether you're asleep or not. And I know for me, it's really hard to slow down. It's really hard for me to embrace the idea that rest is not doing nothing. It contributes to my well-being, and it's a skill. Like, it takes practice. I think it takes practice to rest. I was telling you yesterday when I was talking about meditation, I was talking about how I was getting to the point where I was starting to get really frustrated. Like, I could feel myself getting super antsy when I needed to meditate. And I had to just sit through that. And eventually I stopped feeling that way. Sometimes I still get there a little bit, but um, the same thing happens when I'm just trying to lay down and rest. If I'm not feeling well because of vestibular therapy and stuff, it's easier for me to rest because I just can't do anything. But when I'm forcing myself to lay down or sit down and rest, it can be challenging. I know that. But I try to give myself permission to rest, understand that I'm not being lazy. A lot of times I think before I stopped drinking, I saw not moving as being lazy. And then after I stopped drinking, I I couldn't seem to not move. I always needed to be active, and I think this is the first time in my life I've had to counter that. I've had to force myself to slow down and stop moving, and it's something that I had been practicing for so long, for almost 8 years now, to not do. I wanted to keep moving and stuff. So, resting and sleeping is vital to my well-being, and they give my body and mind the self-care that I deserve to have. So, so don't forget, resting and sleeping is doing something, and it's something truly vital to your well-being. So, thank you for joining me today on the Recovery Daily podcast. I'll talk to you tomorrow.